Compliance.
So either y'all not having no challenges with CDL, or y'all having so many challenges y'all don't know which one to put. Because it's like, how many people on here right now? 40 people on here, and it's like 10 answers.
They are the bomb. They closing. Finding associates that have a warm lead. Who put that, John?
Yeah, I got associates. They want to give me my leads, and I said, "Well, I'll work with you with my leads."
I love it.
Business
I love it.
Plan
Come on, business plan and drivers. Find associates that have a warm lead. They can use the service of a field.
Okay, Gwendolyn, we got training on that. That means you got to tap into the training, navigating the research on FMCSA. I just shared, let me see. Dunbar, connecting with the DM, closing, compliance, getting past the gatekeeper.
Come on, keep them coming. Keep them coming.
Close and getting the driver signed on. What's sad about it? Some of these people work with you, and then that means they're not coachable. They're not tapping back in. Become comfortable with the initial call to who? Yes.
Come on, let's get there. Getting drivers signed on, become comfortable with the initial call. To what?
I know, right?
There must be a typo.
To the vampire.
A typo there.
To the vampire.
You calling vampires, Willie?
Okay, admit.
All right, so let's go ahead and get started with our introductions. Then we're gonna start dealing with some of these things here. That's up here. So Sherranda will get started first, and then pass over to John, and then I'll go last, and we'll start working on some of this stuff.
Well, I'm Sherranda Ivey. I live here in Byron, Georgia, about an hour and a half south of Atlanta. Been with Legal Shield. This is our 9th year. We're 50K ring earners. We are Emory Elite Associates, and we've earned the Ladies of Justice Award for Field Trainer of the Year. And we've written and earned the Production Award for writing over 1,000 apps. I gotta see where I'm at now. But we've earned that Production Award. And we're full service associates. Gladly to say we're starting to recruit, but we're recruiting in the business solution space with other individuals. So that's exciting for individuals who are interested or are already small business owners. But we decided to focus and make this our major a few years ago. And with that, our business just began to grow. So I do a lot of cross-selling in this space, selling small business plans, and then cross-selling with this, all the other products, the legal and the CDLP and HBS are our most popular products that we offer. But just focus on the commercial drivers and the small transportation companies, because they actually, they need us a whole lot, and just the sales process is shorter. So that has become my niche market. Love working with the associates, do a lot of field training. And also I host the accountability call on Thursday nights. For individuals that are, working in this space and need some accountability, we're working in that space, helping individuals with that as well. So definitely glad you guys are here. Welcome to the new people. Glad you're here. Hope you're plugged into the Facebook page and all the other places we have. The YouTube, Dunbar has that. He'll give that information. And a lot of trainings and things are out there. So with that, I pass it over to you, John Hoffman.
Good evening, fellow associates. John Hoffman. I've been in the legal shield business 14 years, really centered on the CDLP because my corporate job or my entrepreneur business that I had prior to Legal Shield dealt with transportation companies and truck drivers. Go out in the field quite a bit, almost every day, and have tried to work with associates long distance. And business kind of exploded recently, so I had to juggle a little bit too much. But there's a lot of business out there for us, and it was kind of exciting. I'm looking actually forward to using the new tool that they put in the back office or the Facebook page to start passing out. This opens some doors for me today, so make sure you download that tool if you have trouble.
Put that out there for you.
Getting past gatekeepers and talking to the right people, that really opens up some doors for you. But like I said, I've been doing this for over 14 years and focus mainly on CDLP. That's where my comfort zone is. So that's where I can help people. All right, Robert, go ahead.
All right, good stuff. So if you could let us know, John or somebody, whenever somebody speaks again, I guess I can do it while I'm talking. Is it that document is in LS Engage under CDLP? Is that under resources and CDLP?
No, I put that in today.
Oh, you put it on the Facebook page?
It's the road check. It's the upcoming road check.
Okay.
That's happening May 17th, I think, is it? I posted that today.
And did you post it? Where did you specifically put it?
Files in the CDLP page.
All right, good stuff. So go to the file page, grab that road check flyer that Sherranda Ivey put up there. Use that to get indoors. You just heard John say use it to get into some doors. So there's your tools, guys. And we put most of those tools back there, guys, because Legal Shield has a few different Legal Shield like tools that are talking about the Legal Shield plan and what it does. But the things we put up there are industry related. They're educational pieces and they're icebreakers and door openers. So that is what that is for. So thank you, Sherranda, for putting that up there. Every year, we like to make sure that you guys have the things on the brake inspections and all those things that may be coming up throughout the year. You'll hear that on the call. You'll see it on the Facebook page, and you'll be able to go to the file section. So if you're new, if you've never been to the file section, go to the file section and look at the things that should be downloaded and go ahead and download them and open up a folder in your computer and put all of your CDO things in one place so your business is on what? Automation, right? You know where everything's at. Because sometimes people are like, where's this? Where's that? Download it, put it in the file. You got the CDLP file there already, all your PDFs, and every year we'll update things. As well as we're going to have our 4th annual coming up this year. And we'll be talking again about safer, where to pull companies from, how to prospect companies, how to investigate companies, how to use that information to find the problem, how to get into companies with that information, how to date the gatekeeper, right? When I say dated, I mean date the gatekeeper, I mean build a relationship with the gatekeeper so that you can get into the company. We're going to talk about all those things during that 4th annual. So Robert Dunbar, been a trainer with Legal Shield for 6 to 7 years. Well, I think longer than that, but who cares? It doesn't matter. It's been some time. It's definitely been more than 5 years and less than 10 years. I've been training on the networking side, business solutions side, now certification trainer with on the CDLP side here with Legal Shield. Really here to help you grow your business. That's what we do. I'm a 100K ring earner, got 250K ring earners on my team. Started the business on the networking side. About 7 years in, I moved my major over to business solutions and went from there. So many of us on this line have changed our minor and our major. And guess what, guys? That's totally fine to do that. Depending on where your heart and your mind is at for your business, just pick an area and decide to do it and run with it hard. That's how you'll grow and be consistent and build that side of the business here. So love to help you guys. We have the Facebook page. We've got this Monday night training call. We've got our Thursday night accountability call that Sherranda Ivey has put together to make sure she can help you guys that are really active in the field. And then you've got a monthly CDLP certification trainer, and the traders rotate on that. So plenty to plug into, plenty of files. I consistently send things out for you all as well. We're uploading things inside of the file section. We're putting things on the Facebook page. So anything that's industry specific that comes out, you're going to always find it somewhere on that CDL page, or we're going to talk about it on this call, or it's going to come out in the email, or it's going to be on Sherranda Ivey's Thursday call. So guys, just stay plugged in and you'll have everything you need when it comes to the CDL space. So let's get started talking about some of the things that are inside this chat. I know Sherranda's looking at it while I'm talking. So Sherranda, if you want to pick a couple of things first, because you look like you're looking at some of them. I'm looking at your faces that you making, and it's like that body language is telling me there's something going on in there. So we're gonna deal with some of the challenges that you guys are having. Hopefully, when we answer it, a lot of it will answer some of the similar things. Like I know I saw closing a bunch of times and warm market things like that. So where do you think we should start, Sherranda?
Let's talk to the new people that's just starting, that just maybe it's their first call, like where they can find stuff and some stuff like that, so they can maneuver, so they can get plugged in properly. Maybe talk about that annual training you was talking about. Want to do that?
Yeah.
We jump on the questions.
Yeah, we certainly can. We certainly can.
Or you want me to do it?
You want me to talk? I can. I mean, it doesn't matter.
You go ahead. Yeah, you go ahead.
So with the new people, just so you all know, if you're a brand new person that's joining us for the first time, or you fell out the loop and you're coming back to the loop, not much has changed other than we may have some more documents and files, but systematically nothing has changed. So just keep in mind, if you leave and come back, so you know mentally, if you're brand new or you leave and come back, the very first thing you should always do is go to the file section on the Facebook page. Because now you'll see what's been put there since you left. So if you say, man, I haven't done CDL in 6 months, go back to the last thing you saw that you downloaded and then start downloading all that material so you know what's going on, right? Content is king. Always make sure you have the information you need in hand. So when you have questions, you've got documents already. You've looked at some things, because it's easier to get me particularly. I don't know how Sherranda and John and Chris Seelig and everybody else works, but I know with me, if you call me and you don't know anything, I'm probably not going to tell you nothing. That's just how it works, because that means you want me to do the work for you, right? So it's the same way. And I used to be really big on team building. It was like, don't call me with a three-way call if they don't know nothing, because I'm not going to do no whole presentation for you. I'm supposed to be closing, not opening. Does that make sense? So if you don't know anything that's going on, right, then go to the Facebook page, look at what's there, look at the files that are there, look at the videos we have that are there, because that will prompt good educational questions on what you should be asking about. So if you say, okay, I looked at this video, I saw this safer stuff, I don't know what the heck this is, I just started doing CDL, and I looked at the safer stuff and I really don't understand what you guys are doing. I'm going to answer that question, because you know what? You looked at it and you don't understand it. And I don't have a problem with helping you. But if you're saying, hey, tell me how all of this stuff works, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to tell you how everything works, because I'm not going to run your business for you. So new or coming back, download everything off the Facebook page that you feel like you need, right? Reach out to a certification trainer or a field trainer to find out what kind of help you need moving forward in the business, right? Find out what companies you're going to be calling. Start looking at some companies. Start getting some information on some companies, because you can't have a conversation about an imaginary business. So you need to have prospects. You need to have some people that you're looking at to prospect, right? So you don't want to get, say, let me get some field trainers lined up, and you don't have any prospects. So what should you be doing in the beginning? Getting some prospects. Looking at your warm market. Who do I already know that's in trucking? Who do I know that knows somebody that is in trucking already, right? Did I get my certification? Did I understand that stuff? Whatever I didn't understand, did I look at some of the videos on the Facebook page or go to the YouTube channel and look at the videos there? So what is the YouTube channel? If you go to Training by Dunbar and go to the playlist, click on playlist, you will see one of this playlists says CDL weekly episodes. There are 75 episodes there. This is 76. Start at the last one, not the first one. Don't go to episode 1. I would say start at episode 75 and then go 74, 73, 72, go backwards, right? Just want to be there later on today. Make sure you're looking at the freshest information first. If you go to the CDL page, Facebook page, you'll see where we've got the audios that we did. You can take a listen to some of those audios if you don't want to do the Zoom ones, but I would tell you the Zoom videos have some really good information. One of the first videos I always suggest people to look at is the 3rd annual Prospecting Trucking Companies video. Always look at the latest annual video that we've done. The latest one is third annual. So make sure you write that down. Make sure you have that information so that you know to look at that video. It's about 2 hours and 45 minutes, I believe, of information. And it goes over everything from prospecting to pulling safety scores, how you use the information, Lamar Reynolds script, which you should have in your folders when you're doing a DM, when you're doing a walk-in, when you're doing an actual presentation. All of that stuff is there for you to take a look at. So hopefully that helps you. I don't want to tell you too much because I don't want to overwhelm you. That should be enough right there. Make sure you're plugged into this Monday. Make sure that you're plugged into Sherranda's Thursday if you're starting to be active. Sherranda?
Look, and you went into this, somebody said about field trainer. So let's understanding everything I need to do when working with a field trainer. So I will say this. So if you working with a field trainer, first thing you want to make sure, if it's in the CDL space, you want to make sure either it's, somebody who has just some experience in the space, because our field trainers don't work in this space. So you would know that the state trainers do, and you can go to the resource guide, the resource in LS Engage and pull the list, and the state trainers will say CDLP, and then everything else is, it'll say field trainers, and you need to check with the field trainer that you're choosing to work with and make sure that they work in the commercial space, because all field trainers don't. So you want to make sure of that. And whenever you choose a field trainer, I'm sure they have their own system. So when you connect with them, they'll most likely tell you how they work. But your first question to them, if they're not a state trainer, is, are you comfortable working in this space? And, have you, had some success in this CDLP space? And you go from there. And they'll normally tell you how they work. But like Dunbar said, so everybody's different, So like with me, I have a calendar and I set up an appointment with you to tell you how I work and, see, can we, is it a fit for us to work together? Because a lot of people really need to just get some training. And one-on-one training is not what I'm not here to do. So when I say that, is that you call me and you really don't have a whole lot of knowledge about the space, that's where I feel you need to tap into this call and tap into the replays so you can learn and, get familiar with, just the industry and the training that has already been set forth. Because this platform has been here a few years now, and all the recordings every Monday night is recorded. So you have a years of training that you can tap into. And the third annual training, gives you the ability to learn how to look for prospects and how to vet those prospects. And then I would say that's when I have a conversation with you to work with you. But to tell you all that process every time we talk, that's not what I'm here for, because we already have systems in place. So a lot of people hear that from me because we have so much training. So, but I know every field trainer has their own, system, and they'll explain that to you. So I hope that helps. And if anybody else want to chime in on that.
John?
All right, getting there. Well, I'm working with some associates that are on this call, and they've reached out to me after I did my training last October to find out my method, but I'm doing a lot of cold calls. Of course, I'm not as young as Sherranda and Robert are, and I need like about an hour nap after doing an hour of cold calls because it's tiring. Make those cold calls. It's a lot of work, to try and open doors, and it's a long process. So that's why I put in the comments earlier to find an associate that has a warm lead that you can go in and the door is already partway open, so you can go in and finish the process. But I don't mind working with associates on cold calls, but I found out last month that it can actually interfere with your own business. When you're trying to work with associates and cold calls where your own business suffers. And I had to take a little bit of a step back, and there are some associates on this call that I apologize for not getting back to them right away, and I will soon. But it's a lot of work, working the CDLP, opening doors and getting the group signed up and then signing the drivers up. And you'll see that process, working with the field trainer, that it is quite a lot of work, but it's well rewarded when it's done the right way. If you're only marketing the CDLP plan, you're not going to get rich that way. You might make, performance club, but you're not going to be making much of a substantial income from it. Other than that's what I'm really looking for, working with associates, but I am working with some associates on this call, and I will continue to do so to see what we can develop, because we did try to get some doors open in the CDLP market. Okay, Robert.
Well, I will say, John, I cold call, but I work through referrals too, but definitely normally I'm cold calling. And I know a lot of associates on the call are cold calling. But one will find that when they start to make dials, that cold call becomes warm quick if you're having conversations. If you come into the call thinking you're going to close them like right then on that first dial, you're mistaken. So associates have to know that cold call, though, can become warm before they hang up the phone, even though they may not have made a sale. So I do that from the house all day. And that's what I've been doing. But it is, John, tiresome. It wears you out. And you have to have a different type of mentality, because you can receive quite a bit of no's, and then the process too is longer than, like you say, the warm prospects, so.
Exactly. We have experienced some good results, and I'll make 10 calls in an hour. So most of those are warm, and people that are on this call, like Tyson's on the call, he's experienced that, where we make some calls and there's a couple of hang-ups, but there are some nice conversations where we can follow up, and it's just a long road to get that process, especially from remotely, especially when I'm used to going out and shaking hands and knocking on front doors. It's a little bit different, a different animal virtually than going outside, and that's where I was today. And I got potentially 2 new groups that I'm getting ready to sign up, and that door is a lot more easier for me, for associates that want to do that with me. But you'll find that's a little more easier than working from behind a phone to try and open those doors remotely. But it's all part of the business. We have to learn all areas of it.
Yeah. Dunbar, did you say that they need to be group certified? Would advise that they be group certified, the new people?
I didn't mention that.
I would mention that for the people that are new, if you haven't taken employee benefits training, you probably want to do that, because in this space, you're quicker to open a group in this space with 1 or 2 employees. So it would serve you best to maximize the ability to help the client by giving them discounts if you get employee certification training in place. And level 2 is the one that certifies you. So just FYI.
And something else that I would look at too, I shouldn't say that. Let me back up. That's something else I would look at. I explain this to people one-on-one all the time, but I know people go in and out of Legal Shield, and people go in and out of this call. So I know it has to be said over and over and over again. CDLP is a different industry. It's a different animal. And the reason why we don't want to give you one-offs or help you when you just have a question and you're not really looking to be in this space is because answering a question for you is telling you just enough information for you to get hurt. So 1 or 2 things is going to happen. 1 of 3 things, right? One thing is you can just close your deal, right? That's the less likely that's going to happen, is you just going to close the deal. But that's one of the options. One of the other things is you're going to get hurt because you're going to go with that one little bit of information and start talking to somebody, and then that's not going to be enough. So you're going to end up being in a situation where you can't answer any more questions and you're going to be embarrassed and it might run you away from the business because you get your feelings hurt. The third thing that can happen is you call Sherranda or John or me or Chris or Lamar or Alan, right? Or a field trainer, Sharon, or anybody that's a field trainer on this line that works for CDLP, and you ask them a question. They answer your question. You go back with that information. You talk to somebody, then they ask you more questions that you can't answer. And then now you call that field trainer or that certification trainer again. I don't have time to take 6 phone calls and answer 6 different questions because you know nothing about CDL. If you don't know anything about CDL, you shouldn't be selling it until you understand it. It's like anything else, because our time is important too. And I can't keep answering my phone and answer one-off questions because you don't want to stop your day or stop your evening and do the training, because you're forcing other people to do your business for you. And I'm not gonna work anybody else's business so that they can get paid. Right? Now, when you have a field trainer that you're working with and you guys have a field training agreement and y'all have a commission share in place, yeah, that person's going to answer questions back and forth because they're opening that group with you. That's a completely different thing. But most of the time when I'm answering questions, I'm not doing paperwork to be somebody's field trainer in that circumstance. You're just asking me questions because I've been with Legal Shield for a certain amount of time and because I'm a certification trainer. And I can't do consultations all day long with people just to be doing them. Like, it just doesn't make any sense for me to do that, right? So you have to look at that, look at it in the business aspect of everything, right? Sherranda's not your upline. If she is, then that's a different story. But if Sherranda's not your upline, I'm not your upline, Chris is not your upline, field trainer's not your upline, Lamar or John or anybody else is not your upline, you can't expect them to be there to answer phone calls, do 3-way calls, do all these things for your business when there's nothing for them to gain from that, but to just help you grow your business. Like, that's not the way business works. You guys follow that? Yes, yes? So I'm not trying to be tough on everybody. I'm just trying to get you guys to understand, because y'all know most of my training comes from a business aspect of it, not a legal shield aspect. As a business owner, right, if I owned a McDonald's, I can't pick up the phone and call other McDonald's owners and be like, hey, I need you to come help me with something. They're going to be like, no, I'm running my McDonald's. I'm not about to help you with your McDonald's. That's your $1 million business for you to make $100,000 a year. That's not right. So if you need help, you got to hire help and pay for help. That's how that works. You can't just call people all day long and say, help me, but I'm going to keep the deal to myself. So understand, if you're working with a field trainer, you can probably call them back and forth and consult with them and ask questions because y'all work in the group together. But it's not in the best interest unless you just got a question and you're already in that space. So people that call me that's in this space, y'all already know I take y'all's call, I help y'all, I do 3-way calls. I do stuff with Vanessa Harris all the time. She calls me for 3-way calls. I don't mind helping Vanessa because I know Vanessa's working in the industry. Like, she's here, she knows what she's doing, she's making phone calls, she's trying to work with people. So I don't mind doing 3-way calls for her and not be a part of the deal because I know she's working the business. But when you got a one-off, I can't be there to help you sign your brother, uncle, cousin, sister's brother's trucking company, and then you're gonna go back and go do regular group or recruiting or do whatever you're doing, because it's not helpful to Legal Shield, it's not helpful to my business, it's not helpful to anybody but you, and I just can't stop my day for that. So I hope that makes sense to everybody so that you guys understand on the business aspect. We're here to help. We want to help you grow, close, build your business, but you got to do it in a business professional manner, and that means you have to know what you're doing in your business, right? You have to be willing to make the cold calls that you hear Sherranda and John talking about. Because a lot of people are saying, how can I run my business? I don't want to deal with these calls. Well, then you don't want to run a business. You can't run a business and not generate leads. There's no such thing as that. So if you don't want to generate leads, so you're saying, I don't want to get on Facebook and get leads. I don't like buying leads because they cost too much. I don't want to cold call. So where you going to get prospects from? There's no other way to get prospects, right? I'm a sales trainer. There's no other way to get prospects but to generate your own leads, buy your own leads, right? That's the only way you're going to get it. You're going to organically get leads or you're going to buy leads. That's the only way you're going to do it. And that means you're going to have to get slapped in the face a couple of times. That's life. If you're going to make sales calls, you got to know that you're going to get slapped in the face because there's no such thing as forever warm market. I know people will say that, they'll train on that, and there's no such thing as forever warm market. You can do warm market and you can do referrals, but an exploding business is going to take some cold calls, even if you're paying somebody to do it. And I hope that makes sense, right? An exploding business has to have an explosive amount of new leads coming in. And new leads come from grassroots marketing. It comes from picking up the phone and calling, or going outside the door and walking in and saying, hey, this is who I am. I'm with so-and-so company. So we want to make sure we get on with that. Hope that helps. So Sherranda, John, what else is in the chat that we need to cover?
Tavia Harper says drivers, and she also says compliance. You asked what they're having problems with. So she's next at drivers, and she also put compliance. So
okay,
right.
so Octavia, if you can unmute yourself, because I want to make sure I understand, because compliance is such a big, I don't want to be saying something that it doesn't make sense. So when you say compliance, what do you mean?
I am so sorry. Hello, nice to be.
Hey, how are you?
Look, I have a trucking company, and I just those are my problems in the area, period. But not just with the CDL plans. Mine is just I need to, get more versed in the training and how to reach out and sell the plan, and that's why I'm here. But so forgive me on the drivers and the compliance. That's on my personal business.
Gotcha. And just so you know, and Sherranda, you can throw something at me if you want to. It won't hit me because we're on Zoom. But Sherranda, she's in that space too. So because you have a trucking company, Sherranda may be able to help with some things because she does some things in that space. And she has a business that might be able to help your business. Does that make sense? On the compliance and all of that kind of stuff. So I would definitely look at reaching out to her on the logistics transportation company side, because she offers some things to her company that might be helpful to you. As far as reaching out and talking to trucking companies, that's definitely what we're going to be talking about here. So you're going to hear some of that here on how to definitely do that. And really the most systematic way. And the reason why I say systematic is because I'm unscripted. So, if you ask me what to say to somebody, every time you ask me, I'm gonna say something different because I say something different every time I talk to somebody. That's just how I work. But systematically, if you want to say, okay, I'm the person, my personality is I want to say the same thing every time. So if you're an introvert or an extrovert or omnivert or ambivert, whatever vert you are, right? Because there's 4 of them, right? Whatever personality you have, if you need a script, use the Lamar Reynolds script. If you're just a flat out, I want to use a flat out script. If you're a person that likes to just kind of talk real time, then it's best to educate yourself on what's happening in the industry so you can use it as an icebreaker. I can do it either way. I just don't like to use scripts. I'm very uncomfortable using scripts. So I'm a real-time educational kind of pitching person, meaning that I'm going to take the newest information that I can find and walk in and say, hey, Sharon, this is Robert Dunbar with Oceanside Benefits Group. I'm just stopping by to see whether or not I can help you guys with, because I pulled your safety score. And just so you know, they got this brake inspection coming up. I want to make sure you know what's going on with that. Right. And I'm gonna start having a conversation, which is going to transition into a sale once I build a relationship. That's just how I do it. Everybody doesn't do it that way. Some people just hitting the phones and they just dial in and they just saying the script, and then they either hanging up if they get a no, or they following up, or whatever the case may be. So that's all going to change. So if anybody else wants to touch that, feel free. But
thank you.
Sherranda, John, you guys.
Yeah, I understand she has her own trucking company, but still, our plans, definitely you want to learn these plans here and how you can go out into the market and share that with other trucking companies. So, just definitely tap in, and so you can, learn the plans and how we're doing that. And on the compliance and driver side, you can definitely tap in with me. I can try to help you as much as I can.
And man, look, that small business plan, guys. When we're talking about learning the Legal Shield CDL plan, y'all need to be understanding that small business plan, because you all that's out there selling CDL and in this space, you're on this call, you're in this space, and you're not selling not selling business plans, man, you guys are missing a huge opportunity to put a plan on the books that's going to stay on the books a little bit longer, a plan that's going to create more income for you, right? A good source of premium dollars, and it's a good way to protect that company along with giving them a CDL plan. So you guys really need to be understanding the different plans, understand what's going on with the changes with launch, understand all of that stuff, because it's a really good combination. It's part of a really good bundle. I didn't mean to cut you off, John. I apologize.
I was going to say, and also, stay plugged into this call too, because as a field trainer, I have leads that I come across. Like I have a small business plan I'm going to sell probably this week to a business that's got drivers in Ohio, North Carolina, Michigan, and I'm going to need to tap into somebody that's going to be able to service that group for me, because I'm not going to travel to those areas. So always stay plugged into these calls, but take as many of these trainings as possible with the weekly trainings I've taken a number of times. Just try and pick up new nuggets, and you'll get the verbiage. You'll get skilled at it, and when you do, it's a wonderful thing to see when you can just walk in and start being an automatic. That's when you can become a field trainer yourself, and that's what we need more of, is more field trainers in this business.
Absolutely. What other questions we have?
The census report, and Louise Bates said census report. I'll tap in with that. It's not always easy to get the list of the drivers. It's a process. Some come quicker than others, and that's just my experience. Close the group today. The guy's gonna put the drivers in himself when the company comes available, because it's payroll. So he'll put the drivers in probably by the end of the week. But then got some other companies still asking for the list of the drivers. Different reasons why they hadn't sent it, but it's always been a process. That hasn't been an easy task. And then I will say, when you do get that driver's list, now you got to sell that driver. You might have sold that owner, but now you got to sell that driver. Especially depending on how it's set up, whether it's bank draft or payroll. Of course, payroll is easier, but for me, those census reports have been it's always a process. Like I say, sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. You just don't give up. And I promise you, they're gonna remember you when their driver gets a citation. They'll send all the drivers. They'll send a list in, for real. Now, but it's pre-existing. But what can you do? You try to get the list before this happened. So that's my take on the census report.
So how do you ask for it, Sherranda, when you ask for it?
So today, I'll just say with the group today that I have closed, when the guy approached the owner, when he called the owner, he already had a citation. He already had a ticket. And this one was easy because he had Legal Shield, the owner. Before he became an owner, he was a driver at another company that had Legal Shield. So he knew the product. And so he wanted to know how the process worked now that he's an owner. So we explained that. So today we, got the group authorization form signed. And so I said to him, either you can send me the report. Well, I said us, but you can send us the report. And, I can get them in the system, your drivers in the system. Or when our corporate office verifies your company, they're going to explain to you we have a software where you're going to be able to set your password and you can go in and put your drivers in. I said, either way, it's okay. It's up to you. And he said, so when I go into that software, because I explained to him how, if the driver leaves, because it's payroll, if the driver leaves when he gets his bill, I was explaining the process of how you can adjust by removing, the amount, and the system, it adjusts the price. And he said, well, how do I do that? I say, like I said, when you verify your account, they're going to send you a link. They're going to explain to you, they're sending you a link to set up your password, and you can go in here. And then you can put the drivers in, or I can. But on that website, you have the ability to add and remove drivers. as need be. And he said, but this guy said, he would put them in. And he was like, well, how long, you think it would take? I say, well, your paperwork probably processing tomorrow. They'll try to reach out to you probably tomorrow afternoon, no later than probably Wednesday morning. And after that process happens, you can put them in. But a lot of times, other than that, like if I close somebody, I might say, that's in the process of me closing them, how all this is going to take place. So I'll say, most companies that I work with, they'll send over a list of the driver's information. And then I'll, just tell them what information I need: name, date of birth, last four, email, and mailing address, and a telephone number. And these people have this information because they have to keep up with driver qualification files. So it's not a matter of them, oh, I don't have it. They have it. So I'll say most companies that I work with, they'll send that list over and I will get their drivers in the system. Or if it's payroll, I'll say you can send over a list and we'll go ahead and call the drivers on behalf of you and get them registered in the system. You don't have to worry about trying to explain it. We'll call them one by one. Just want you to let them know that we're calling. So they're looking out for the call. So that's how I normally ask. And it's a matter of just calling back and forth to the owner till I get it.
Absolutely. John, how do you do it?
Well, you're going to come across businesses that won't give you that census list, and that means your job's not done yet. They haven't convinced them that your memberships are important enough yet to offer to the drivers. And I've come across that, but I just have to work on that business owner a little more and show them the value of what we have. But, I just ask them, I need a list of your drivers so I can contact them so I don't have to burden you with explaining the program to them. But I also give them lots of materials too when I sign up a group. I'll blow up the flat sheet that has got the legal plan on it and the driver plan on it. It's called the interactive CDLP plan. I'll blow it up to 11 by 17 size and have it laminated and put the information on there. If they have a website they can sign up on, I'll put it in their driver room. I'll leave other DOT materials there that are not Legal Shield identified necessarily, but just blast them with information about how they have to really secure their job and why we're there. And when you get that list, you just work that list in the beginning right away. You call everybody on it, and then people that don't sign up on it, you call them back every month, and then to be where it's almost like every 6 months, where you work that same list and see if there's any additions to it or subtractions to it. But the list when you get it is gold. But if you get it, you got a good relationship with the company. If you don't get it, you still have to work on that relationship.
And too, Dunbar, you have to realize with my prospects, I'm leading with small biz. So I've already closed the owner. You know what I'm saying? So he's sold on the benefit. So I'm just trying to get the list, whether he's busy or not. A lot of times when I have, I guess a lot of the problem is that when I'm working with associates, of course, they lead with CDL. Like they lead with the CDL plan. That's what they've talked about to these people to set this appointment. So that's all we're focused on. So a lot of times it's harder when I'm working with associates to get it because, they've talked about the plan and they've gotten the okay because they did the group authorization form. But it's a little difficult because, I always find it was difficult when I'm working with associates to get it. Because like I say, they've led with the CDL plan. When I lead with small biz. So I've closed that small business plan mostly. And then, it's easier for me because he sees the value in, what I'm talking about. He's protected the business and he knows the next part of the process is to get the drivers on board.
Good. No, that's good. And that also answers one of the other questions in the chat, which is, do you start with the small business plan first? That's personal preference. Some people start with the small business plan first. Some people start with the CDL first. The question you have to ask yourself is, which one are you more versed in? And which one are you more comfortable leading with? Because it doesn't matter what we tell you to lead with. you're not going to do it unless you're comfortable. So it's got to be what you're comfortable doing. So when it comes to making calls, guys, whatever you're comfortable doing, right? And I know we say, so that this is not misunderstood, because I know in the world of training, people say, you got to get out the comfort zone, you got to get out the comfort. I understand that. That's different. What I mean by comfortable, meaning that some people are more comfortable talking about the small business plan than they are the CDL plan. So if you can lead in with the small business easier than you can the CDL, then lead in with the small business. If you can lead in with the CDL better, then lead in with the CDL better. Do whatever you feel like you can accomplish and that you're willing to do, right? That you're willing to do. Because if you're not willing to do it, it doesn't matter how effective it is, right? I can show you how to do a lot of different things that'll be very effective, but if you don't do them, right? So I may say, well, I can get you a better turnover conversion rate if you do this than if you do that. And you say, well, I'm more comfortable doing that. Well, if you're more comfortable doing that, then do that, because that's going to give you some kind of conversion rate. And if I'm telling you to do it my way and you're not comfortable doing it, then you're going to get no conversion rate, because that means you're not going to do it at all. So whatever you're most comfortable doing, lead in that way, and that's how I would tell you to do that. When it comes to things like, I see a lot of things here on like prospecting, and guys, a lot of this is sales stuff, and some of this, as a sales trainer, I'll tell you, y'all looking for some kind of dust to be sprinkled over y'all that don't exist. The way to get over call reluctance is to pick up the phone and make a phone call. It's like anything else, guys. There's nothing that we're going to ever be able to tell you that's going to get you past that nervousness in your stomach. It's like a speaker that goes on stage. There's been people that's been speaking on stage for 20 years and they still get nervous. You're not going to get rid of the butterflies when you're going to make a phone call. You just got to make the phone call even though you got butterflies. That's really the only thing I can tell you on that. And you've got to separate yourself from the people you're calling and stop making it a relationship thing where you think that they're saying no to you. People are saying no to your opportunity, to the membership that you're offering, to the product, to the service. They're not saying no to you as an individual. You're selling something. So you can't call somebody to sell them something, and then when they say no, you say they're saying no to me. Because mentally, that doesn't make any sense. You're not selling you. You're selling something. You're selling a widget. So you can't pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm offering this service. Then when they say no, say, oh, I can't believe they told me no. Well, they don't even know you. They're not thinking about you. They're telling you they don't want to buy something, and it could be 1,000 reasons why they don't want to buy it. They could not have the money. It could not be a good time for them. You could have called them at a bad time in the day, right? They could have been burnt by a product similar to this. They could have been burnt by this product, right? It could be 1,000 reasons why they're saying no. That's why you can't concentrate on it. Just know that if you make phone calls, you will close people. That's really all I can say. Like there is no closing magic trick, because it depends on who's closing, how you close. I'm a relationship closer, right? I have all kind of pitches that I use. One of my pitches is a gift pitch where I'm giving something, right? Part of my pitch is I'm giving something. I always ask you for something because I want to give you something and I need you to give me something. So when I ask Sherranda, how does she get the census report, or when she gets a list of the drivers, I always try to get the list of the drivers by gift pitching, which is, hey, Miss Sherranda, if you don't mind giving me a list of your drivers, because I want to reach out to all these guys, because one, I need them to understand how to use the plan. Plus, I want to make sure they understand that there's a lot of perks and benefits. All of these drivers got different things going on, and we do a lot. Give a lot of discounts, give a lot of stuff for free. And I want to make sure they have the app on their phone, that they know how to reach the attorney, and that they're not bothering you. I want them to be familiar with me. So I want to have their information in my phone. I want them to be able to call me if they have a situation so I can help them. Because the point of you having this membership is so that your day is not you dealing with all this stuff, but Legal Shield and me as the agent that works with these guys. I'm trying to take that off your desk. So if you give me a list of the drivers, I'll be able to communicate with them back and forth. The ones who don't have the membership yet, I'll talk to them about it. When they're ready to get it, they can get it. So I'm calling what? I'm gifting. I need their information so that I can do this for them, right? So I'm telling Sherranda I want her driver's information so that I can give them something, some service, some value, something, right? So that's a gift pitch for me. So it depends on how you talk, how you relationship build, how what your relationship was until you got there. That's why Sherranda said with her, she's already closed the business owner, so there's already a relationship there. Because she went in there with small business, she has built a relationship with the owner of the company. So now asking for the listed drivers is an easier task for her because she's already sold that driver on a small business plan. Right? So it just depends on where you're coming from and how you pitch, how that's going to work out for you and what your conversion rate is going to be. But everybody has to do what they're comfortable doing. So hopefully that helps everybody with that. John, Sherranda, you guys got anything throwing on that?
Well, if you do
No,
get the
just-
list, you gotta protect it with your life because there's some, a lot of private information on there. And that's what I get, at least in California, I got a lot of owners that are worried about privacy laws. Of course, contacting the driver while they're driving on the truck is probably not a good idea, even if they do have a headset on. So you have to be really careful if you do get the list and what you do with it. Go ahead, Sherranda.
No, I was going to say, and with the business plan, you just got to know what the business plan does for the company, because it doesn't do anything with violations and citations. So be careful with cross-selling if you're not comfortable with that, or knowing exactly what the business plan can do for these companies here, because the script talks about violations, and if you focus on that script, you're gonna missell if you're trying to sell the business plan. So make sure you understand what the plans do, or you're gonna end up, selling a small business plan, and that owner gonna think that business plan is gonna fight those violations, and that business plan does nothing for violations. And so I can't, stress that enough.
So Sharon, was you responding to somebody or was that something you were saying in general? You were trying to say in general?
I was saying that in general.
Okay, so go ahead. Because some people ain't reading that yet.
Oh.
So go ahead.
I just put in the chat that it's highly recommended that you stay small in the beginning because you're trying to figure out, am I going to start with the CDLP or am I going to start with small business? But if you're going to speak CDLP, go to the 3 to 5 man accounts if you elect not to use a field trainer. That way you can get out there, get your knees and elbows skint up and get your nose on the front end. So when it's time for you to gain your confidence, you've already worked through, that fright of calling a company. But don't go into calling a 10, 25 man account, because you're really messing up your pockets when you go on and you just blah, 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 and throw up on those companies that could be profitable for you. So when you're researching or however you're looking at your numbers, just do your best to stay in the small arena first, and then you can tackle the big ones. You all know my hashtag, stay small, you get them all. Back to you, Robert.
All right, good stuff. No, that's good. Looking at some more stuff in here. Zephany with the conservation group not being able to get the census, like John and Sherranda was saying, you might not get it. Like some companies that may not give it to you. And then conservation group, you have to build that relationship. I don't know where you're at with that, but when it's a conservation group and you didn't open it, you don't have a relationship yet. So sometimes you have to build a relationship with that company because you didn't open that company. Well, one thing I know is relationship building helps with most issues, right? And that's anywhere, any kind of sales. Once you build relationships with people, you'll get more out of them because they trust you more at that point. So it may just take some time. You may just need to continue to call them and send stuff. Again, something that I do, so like you're sending packets. So and Zephany, I'm not saying that you're not doing other things, but I'm just basing it off what you said here. So it says, I'm working with a conservation group that I have not been able to get a census from. I leave packets for orientation, but the group is not growing. My question to you is, are you emailing them or sending them educational things? Are you sending that company something that's helpful to that company, not just our sales material? Because that's one of the challenges that we have. We give people our stuff and we think that that's helpful. Now, in a sense, it's helpful because we know the plan works, right? But understand, on their side, that's not helping them in that sense. Helping is giving a business owner, right? And I'm looking at Sharon, so I'm using Sharon for an example. If Sharon has a baking company, giving her legal, our business plan information, yes, if she gets it, it's going to help her. So that's helpful to her. But what's helping her is me sending her information about the banking industry that's helpful to her. Me sending her information that will help her business. That's what I mean by helpful information. So when Sherranda puts out there, hey, here's the brake inspections, that's what you should be dropping off and sending to them to build a relationship. Because you're not going to build a relationship by giving them our sales material. You're going to build a relationship by doing something for that business that's going to help the business in the sense of this is what we do for a living. So hopefully that helps you build with that conservation. So anybody that has conservation groups on here, find out what they do, understand that company's industry, and start emailing them things and dropping things off that helps that business do their business. Because you're highly likely going to get them to talk to you faster because they feel like you're a source of information, not a salesman or a saleswoman. And I hope that helps. So I saw you, I think you get roll check info. Okay, good, Stephanie. So you have sent that. So sign up for some of this stuff.
It just came out though. I don't know how long you had the conservation group. That just came out like last week. So I mean, you can't really send it that because that don't happen every month. You know what I'm saying? So right. you got to fill their inbox up if that's how you got to communicate with them, just with informational stuff, and eventually, hopefully, I think Rose Pruitt is on here. You know, she's an example of that. She had a prospect called her last week or 2 weeks ago. She had been emailing this guy for 1.5 years. She might have talked to him one time, and she uses a CRM system, so she know he wasn't opening up her emails, but she was steady sending him different stuff over the 1.5 years. So when he was up against the fan, up against the wall, he remembered Rose. He remembered her. You know, whether he remembered her name and didn't open her emails, but he found her number and he called her after 1.5 years of her emailing him to say, can you help me? So that's what I'm saying. So she could see he wasn't opening, but she still was diligent about dropping stuff in his inbox because he was a prospect in her prospecting system. And so it's been 1.5 years and he called her a couple of weeks ago. Now he wants to talk to her. He needs her help. So that's what I'm saying. Don't just do it this one time or, you know, you got to just keep doing it with no response. And eventually one day, the hope is that they'll call you or you know, call too, even though you go to voicemail, leave a voicemail. You know, don't just hang up because you get the voicemail, leave a voicemail. Tell them who you are. Just wanted to check in with you. I'm your new, you know, Legal Shield commercial rep, you know, if it's a trucking company, you know, say something, you know, and eventually, you know, they may call you, but you've done your part, you know, and you just never know when the right time is going to be or what. But if they don't know who you are, they won't ever call. So
and
I mean,
call behind the stuff, like you said, though, Sherranda. Like
I think a lot of people have that. I think a lot of people have had that recently, you know, where they've been sending stuff and calling, and then they'll say, "Oh, I've been calling this man for months." And he finally picked up, you know, stuff like that. But you have to be patient in the process. You just have to. And I think that's where we miss it, you know, that people, and we all do, we give up, you know, but if we keep going, you just never know. You just never know.
That's why you need a system. That's why you need a system, an automated system that pushes stuff out. Because again, now there's nothing connected to it. When you get up and you're reaching out to these people, I'm calling Sherranda and John and Sharon and Alyssa and Allison and Brian and Willie. I'm calling these people, and it's like my business is dependent on these people I just named answering their phone. It's this connection, like I gotta close these guys to move forward. And that's what's happening. We so attached because we got a few prospects. When you got a bunch of prospects in the CRM and it's just shooting emails out, you ain't connected to that. It's just working. You got people you calling, but that thing is just sending out emails. It's pumping out emails. And you can call behind the emails, and I can pick up the phone and call and say, let me call these 10 people today and just make sure they got the stuff I sent. Hey, Sherranda, I'm just giving you a call. I know you're really busy, so I'm just gonna leave this on your voicemail. I sent you an email last week with the brake inspection, and I also sent you something to make sure that you guys was in compliance with this ELD 3G sunset. Just wanted to make sure you got that stuff. If you got any questions, give me a call. Right? Get off the phone, call the next person. Keep doing that kind of stuff. Emailing and calling behind and leave a voicemail. Keep systematically, people are gonna, because guess what? They know you're there, but they don't need you right now in their mind.
Right.
But when they finally need you, guess what? They got emails they can go to get your contact information. You left them voicemails so they can reach back out to you. You can't call a person once a year. You can't send an email for a month and then when they don't respond to the email, take it personal like they're ignoring you and don't contact them again. That's why we put things in systems so that it goes out and you don't even have to be conscious that it's going out. If you got somebody on rotation, they get emails, they get emails. You're not even looking at the emails that go out. Most of my emails, the majority of my emails that go out, I don't see them go out. I set it up for them to go out to this group of people and it goes out. I look at the analytics on who opened, but I'm not looking at individuals saying, did Sherranda open my email? I'm looking at the amount, what percentage of it got open. Are they effectively being open? Because I'm working on my business. I don't have time for every individual prospect to be trying to get all in my feelings about every person I'm trying to close. No, I'm just doing mass numbers. And then you're gonna close enough in that mass numbers for your business to run successfully. And you'll start to realize that the more you send stuff out, the more people will respond, but you can't take any of that stuff personally. You can't take it personally, you can't stop. It's gotta be consistent.
And don't go broke taking them donuts. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You go broke, man. They be like, who brought these donuts? I don't know. They bring them every month, though. I'm just saying, just get creative, man. And it's a conservation group. Like he said, they said you got to build relationships with conservation groups. Man, I got conservation groups. I ain't never seen them people. Never. It's luck of the draw they pick up. I do what I'm supposed to do. I check in, I call them, leave a voicemail, send an email, and I update my report. Because that's all I can do. I can't make them let me come back in. You don't really know what happened to the first person. You know what I'm saying? It could have been a bad relationship. You just don't know. And so now you got to somehow figure that out. So, like I say, don't go broke, though, trying to feed them donuts, because they'll accept them. Trust me. And you'll never get in. Just do what you can do. And like you say, don't take it personal, but you got to know that you don't know how it was with the last associate. So, it might not be a good place, and that's no fault of yours. So just try to just be creative, I guess, and do whatever you have to do. But if you can't get in, you just can't get in.
I have a different avenue that I take with that is I'll find another associate that I want to work with, to share the group with, because maybe I'm just not communicating with them or gelling with them. I got a couple of groups that have got a couple of female HR managers, and so I reached out to a female associate because maybe they can have a relationship with them. And so I'll find that. I have one that I share with, I see Wilma's on the call too. So I have a group that was a conservation group. It's called Brotherhood Crusade. And I know if I go driving that parking lot with my country music going on and my cowboy hat on, I'm not going to communicate really well with that group. So I asked someone for help. Okay, and Wilma's there to help me on that. Remember, I'm giving her most of that group because I know she's going to be able to open some doors there that I cannot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got to be creative. So you felt like, we need to switch this up a little bit. You got to be creative. That's with anything, right? Dunbar sales. That's got to be creative.
Yeah, and that's a service. That's a service attitude. And when you're doing business, it's like, people don't understand that leaders have to serve everybody under them. Yes, you're the leader, but what makes you the leader is that you're serving the people under you. If anybody's built a big team on here, part of you having a big team is what? You had everybody's beck and call pretty much right? That's what makes it you be leading that team. So John is saying, okay, what's important here? Getting in the group and servicing the client. Let me find somebody else, let them go in there, because the objective is to get in here. Not about me getting in here, but getting in there. So he moved himself out the way and put somebody else in there because he's focused on the objective, which is getting in the group. And that's what a lot of us, everything, we wake up every morning and we do our business and it's about us. And it can't be about you. It's got to be about protecting that client with the product or service. When you're in sales, you're selling a product or service to somebody to help them get through something. And the minute you make it about you, you're going to hurt your business. So this is not about any of us. It's not about us being on the leaderboard. It's not about us earning a ring. It's not about us earning X amount of dollars in our business so we can walk away from our job. It's about servicing the people that the product or service that you sell is for. So with us, we trying to help people have access to attorneys without paying an arm and a leg. That should be all that's on your mind when you're walking in these places. Right? When you put a company's safety score and you see that their safety score is screwed up, your objective is, your drive, your motivation should be what? I've got to get in here and help this company before that DOT audit them. And when your attitude starts to be, oh, so you don't want to let me in, that's it. That's your bad. They're going to audit you, they ain't going to audit me. That's not the right attitude. That's not the right attitude. Your attitude is supposed to be the same way you help your kids. When you know they don't know something and they don't want to do it and they're being rebellious, but you know what's best for them. And because that's your child, you know what you do what's best for them. Do what's best for that client. Take yourself out the way. Don't make it about you and go in there and say, I'm going to do whatever it takes to protect this company. They'll thank me later on. And that was one of Sherranda's biggest deals. Biggest like aha moments was when she saved that company who thought that they didn't need her help. Like she was bothering them until she figured out how to get their attention, and she told them something that they didn't know, and they was like, "Uh-oh, wait, I didn't know nothing about that." And then it was like, "Oh, maybe we do need her." And then, but if she had have not continued to push that door, knowing that they needed the help, she would have never had that aha moment to say, "Oh, okay, I got this figured out now." They don't even know. It's like some people don't know they deaf, dumb, and blind. Some people just don't know. Right? They're walking around thinking that they normal. So a lot of these companies and business owners, they think they got things figured out because they've been in the industry 20 years, and there's some things that they just don't understand. And if you understand them, you can go in there and you can close the deal, but you got to be willing to have the door slammed in your face a few times. I mean, all y'all on this line that's married, y'all already know that. Men and women, you married, boy. If you want to stay married, then you got to put up with some stuff with the other person because you care about them. And it's like, I don't agree with this deal, but I care enough about you and our family and what we got going on that I'm gonna work with you through this issue because this is more important. If what you're doing for a business is more important than that client and they just don't understand that you're really there to help, you got to keep going through that. You got to wade through that and say, okay, they just don't get it, right? Sometimes our sisters, brothers, kids, spouses, they don't get it. And our job is to say, I get it and I care about you. So I'm gonna make sure you get it, even if you're being nasty to me at this point in time because you think I'm getting on your nerves.
Tyson just put in there. I have a conservation group I contacted last week. The contact person was adamant that she would not get the service, but scheduled me to come in and present to employees in April. I told her if she'll give me an opportunity to present to her or sit in on our presentation, I feel she might consider changing her mind.
There you go. There you go. Got to push. Got to push. Well, guys, it's 62 of y'all on here, and it is 9:50. We 20 minutes over 9:30. Y'all know that anyway. We appreciate y'all sticking around, staying with us. Hopefully, we got some of y'all's questions answered, and hopefully, people that didn't ask questions but wanted the answers to those questions got some help there as well. So that's what we're here to do. We're here to make sure that you understand what you need to be doing so that you can move forward in this business. Guys, if you download that business automation, guys, that's if you don't understand that, you will understand it. Just look at it. It's showing you how to automate yourself, looking at your processes so that you can automate your business. So some of the stuff that you just heard us all talking about, right? You should have on automation to follow up with people. You should have on automate your process of getting new leads. You should have a process for getting new leads. You should have a process for following up. You should have a process for doing an enrollment. You should have a process for doing new employee hires, right? You should have a process on what to do if somebody leaves the company that's on payroll. You should have a process for every part of your business so that when something happens, you can say, let me go to my SOP, which is what? My standard operating procedure. What do I do when this happens? Because if you have to think every single time, you're slowing your business down. You're not being productive as you should. So if you don't have a system put in place, and I know Legal Shield has a system. So there is a system there, but you have to have your own system within Legal Shield system. So use Legal Shield as a guide, and then you should have your own system so that as you build new people on your team, if you get sellers on your team, you can take them through that system. And you got to know, if you get up in the morning, this is my system. When it's Tuesday, like tomorrow, the blitz is coming. What's your system for the blitz? What do you do? How do you make your calls? Is everything laid out for you to make your calls, document so that you can, what is your system for the blitz tomorrow so that you can make the most calls, the most effective calls in that 2-hour time frame? That's what you want to be looking at. Processes and systems so that you can be on automation so that it's not a job every day, guys. You want it to be a job every day. You want it to be smooth. So hopefully that makes sense. So that document will show you some things that you can do to that, to make sure you make that happen. So Thursday night, Sherranda Ivey has her accountability call. Don't forget March 5th. You'll see the CDLP certification with Lamar Reynolds and Alan Roman. So get yourself registered for that. Don't wait until it's too late to get that registration. We'll be here next Monday. Make sure you download Sherranda Ivey's inspection that she put there, that flyer. Make sure you go there to the file section and download that flyer so you can use it as an icebreaker. We'll be back here next Monday. You can see this this replay on the YouTube channel. It's running live while we're on here. So you guys have a fantastic rest of your evening and the rest of your week. And if any other traders have anything to say before we close out, floor is open.
Have an awesome week, guys. The blitz
said.
is tomorrow.
Good night,
Thank you,
everybody.
everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Everybody have a
Thank
good night.
you. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank
Bye
you.
now.
Have a good one.
Good night.
Thanks, everyone. Great training. Thank you.
Good night, good night, good night, all.